Welcome to Damn Good Movie Memories with your host, Brian Davis. This podcast is the cure for your long commute and super boring workday. Hey there, it's Brian Davis, and for this week's episode, it's part 2 of our top 5 greatest performances as requested by our listener, Mark Brown, one of our Australian listeners. And again, thank you so much for recommending this, Mark. This is a great idea, but it was tough to narrow it down to 5, and it was tough to have it not be a two-parter because we just had so many things to talk about, and it was best to just split them up into actress and actor. So this week we're going to get into our top 5 favorite actor performances. So let me get into mine right now. So the hardest part for me, I had a lot of actors, and it was tough to narrow it down. And again, Mark really made us work for this. We had to make Sophie's choice on some of these. But this one, yeah, okay. So number 5. I picked Tom Hanks, but probably not the Tom Hanks role you think of. I'm going with Big from 1988 because this was, to me, his breakout role as an actor. Before, he'd been in a lot of comedies, stuff like Bachelor Party and Dragnet, The Men with the One-Mered Shoe, and they're all great. But this it's a comedy, but man, he's been in some fun movies, but this was a smash hit, and it made him a superstar, and he deserved it because he was so great at portraying that innocent charm of a young kid. You truly believed he was a 12-year-old in an adult body. And, and this movie just seemed to set off a trend of age-changing movies, much of which I own. But anyway, he was nominated for Best Actor, but Dustin Hoffman won for Rain Man. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, Rain Man, Dustin Hoffman definitely could have been in my top 5, and he should be, so that'll be my honorable mention because he's brilliant as Raymond in the movie Rain Man. But, growing up, when Big came out, I was just around this age, and as what Tom Hanks' character as a boy would have been, so this movie resonated with me, and he's really great, and he just has that innocent charm that I think only Tom Hanks could have really pulled off with such, realism and conviction, and it's just it's a really well done film, and really just after that, Tom Hanks, his shooting star just kept rising. All right, number 4 is Clint Eastwood, but what Clint Eastwood movie did I pick? And what I picked is his role in Gran Torino from 2008. Now, he wasn't even nominated, and he also directed this film. And part of the reason I think is he just wins too much. He went on an amazing streak, where he won for like Mystic River and Unforgiven and $1 Million Baby. And so it's like, we can't give it to Clint anymore. But man, if he ever deserved to be nominated, I think he deserved it. But, Sean Penn won for his role as Harvey Milk in the movie Milk. So, yeah, that's fine. But I still think he should have been nominated. But Gran Torino is just another great movie from Clint Eastwood. And it's amazing the quality of work he continued to put out even late in his career. And Clint is so good in this role, that often he didn't even need to say a word. His body language, his facial expression, or even a grunt said all that needed to be said in this film. And I really enjoyed the fact that his neighbors became like a family to him, and every time I laugh when he calls the kid Toad. The kid's name is Tao, and he just calls him Toad, and even pushing at 80 at the time of this film, Clint's still a badass. You don't want to mess with him, and the ending of Gran Torino is absolutely perfect, and it's bittersweet, but you can't help but smile at the outcome. And yes, this is a character that is not necessarily likable. It's not like he dislikes one set of people. He dislikes everyone, and as it turns out, he probably hates his family more than anyone, and that's why his neighbors almost become his real family. But if you haven't seen Gran Torino and you like Clint Eastwood, I hope you have seen this by now. But it's a terrific film, and he really is great in this role. All right, number 3 is Jack Nicholson. But what did I pick him for? Well, I went with As Good as It Gets from 1997, and he did win Best Actor in the 1998 Academy Awards. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of like Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino. His character isn't that likable, but you end up loving him because, I don't know, he's pretty much an awful human being. He hates everyone and everything equally, but, he develops this relationship. I think his personality really starts to change with the dog, Verdell, and that was Greg Kinnear's dog that he had to take care of. And then, you just kind of see him starting to change. And again, I mentioned in in the prior episode, these are the characters and these are the roles where you can't imagine anyone else playing this, and I can't imagine anyone but Jack Nicholson playing this character. This is Jack. I mean, that's and he's had a lot of roles like this, whether it be in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or in Chinatown or whatever, but this was the role that was meant for him. He deserved to win the Best Actor. They got it right for that one, and every time this is on, anytime his character is on screen, I can't get enough of it. All right, number 2 is James Stewart, and the movie I'm picking is It's a Wonderful Life from 1946. He was nominated for the 1947 Oscars, but Frederick March won for the Best Years of Our Lives. George Bailey is an iconic character, and James Stewart is kind of like one of those people who's just like you want to be his friend, and as it turns out in this film, he was like everyone's friend, and he took on Mr. Potts. God, what's his name? Mr. Potter. He took on Mr. Potter, famously played by Lionel Barrymore, and he goes through the ups and downs. This is during the Depression. It's during when the banks were failing, and this is a small town bank, and he was always good to people, and it just felt like at the end of his rope, he didn't feel like anyone cared about him, but as it turns out, everyone cared about him, and he's human, and he went through points in the movie where he wasn't that likable, and even through all that, you still end up liking him in the end, and it just shows the range of emotions he could get out of that role, and I can't imagine anyone else playing George Bailey but James Stewart, and so it was pretty easy to make him in my top 5. All right, my number 1 pick, it's a cheat because, well, one, it's my podcast. I can do whatever I want, but I just couldn't choose between these two actors, and it's in arguably the greatest movie of all time. The movie's The Godfather, and it's Al Pacino and Marlon Brando. I'm going with both of them, and partly because it's both movies, and so obviously Brando gets it for the original Godfather, and Pacino gets it for Part 2. So Pacino was nominated actually for Best Supporting Actor in 1973 for Godfather Part 1, and then he was nominated for Best Actor in 1975. Joel Grey won for Best Supporting Actor in 1973 for Cabaret, so Pacino didn't get that one. And then Art Carney won for Best Actor in 1975 for Harry and Tonto. So I've never even seen that movie, so I'm going to say they got that one wrong, but if anyone's seen Harry and Tonto and want to dispute this, go ahead. But yeah, Pacino he owns. I mean, you see the rise of Michael and the change from Part 1 into Part 2 and how he just becomes ruthless. And this role made Pacino. Pacino never was. He never faltered after this. He was always super popular. He's always been considered one of the greatest actors of all time after this. And so definitely Pacino has to be mentioned here. And then Marlon Brando. Brando actually won Best Actor in 1973 for his role as the Godfather. And who else could have played the Godfather? I mean, granted, he's mumbling. He famously put cotton in his mouth to get this, and he was famously forgetting his lines and whatnot. He had to, people were putting cue cards everywhere for him. But who else could have played Don Corleone? Nobody. It's Marlon Brando. And so that's how do you pick between Al Pacino and Marlon Brando? You can't. I mean, both of them are absolutely necessary for this film, and there's a reason why it's the greatest film of all time, or the greatest 2 films of all time. So yes, I cheated, but I think it's okay. I hope it's okay, Mark. Anyway, let me get to my honorable mentions very quickly. Okay, so honorable mentions. Again, I could have picked Marlon Brando for On the Waterfront, arguably his greatest role. I mean, you could have picked Streetcar Named Desire and others, but no, On the Waterfront, terrific মি and he's brilliant. Humphrey Bogart in The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Again, not a likable character, but Bogart's been in so many amazing roles. Had he picked just one, but Treasure of the Sierra Madre definitely could have been in there for me. Robert De Niro, it's like, what do you pick? And so they kind of like negated each other. And so I could have picked him for Taxi Driver, could have picked him for Raging Bull. Hell, you could have even picked him for Godfather Part 2, playing the young Vito. So, it was too tough to pick, but either all 3 of those movies he deserved to be in there, so definitely honorable mention. Paul Newman, there's so many Paul Newman roles. Could have been Cool Hand Luke, could have been The Sting, could have been Butch Cassidy. There's so many. The Verdict, he's terrific in The Verdict. Michael Douglas in Wall Street, he did win the Academy Award for it. he was in my top 5 going into this. He was in the top 5, and I just couldn't do it. But Greed is good. That is forever. I mean, he's been in tons of great roles, but his role as Gordon Gekko in Wall Street, it's brilliant. John Belushi, even though this wasn't a lead actor, every time he's on screen in Animal House, how do you turn away? He is Bluto. He is, he owns the screen, and so I love John Belushi. And then lastly, and this was hard to leave him off too, Jeff Bridges in The Big Lebowski is the dude. He is the dude. Nobody else could have played this role. Anyway, so those are my honorable mentions. Let's get into what everyone else has to say in this week's episode. All right, let's now go to your top 5 men, and then we will go back and we'll talk about your honorable mentions. But let's go through the top 5 favorite acting performances.
Okay, so I'm starting at the bottom again. I'm still kind of fiddling with number 5. I'm going to put Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men at number 5. That, I think, is just he does such a good job of being creepy and menacing. Like every second he's on screen and still kind of doing very little. He very rarely moves fast, and he very rarely moves his face, and he seems to do much of it with his voice. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people walked out of that film kind of feeling the aftershocks of his vocal delivery, as well as his haircut. But right. It was like, I don't know how much of that was his choice.
But it fit perfectly for the role. It was just so weird.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole like asymmetrical thing, the entire thing keeps you off kilter. It's really appropriate. But he does a really good job, I think, of being unsettling and through all of that.
I know the movie won Best Picture. Did he win an Academy Award?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
I'm almost positive he was nominated, but yeah.
I want to think so. I certainly think he deserved it. Yeah, he won Best Supporting Actor in 2008.
Okay. Yeah, he was another part.
But as I remember, as I remember, I think No Country for Old Men kind of swept the male side of the Oscars that year.
Yeah. Yeah, because you also have him and Tommy Lee Jones and Josh Brolin, and it was just a really well done film.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it now. It got Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, Best Screenplays. Those are the wins that it got that year. Yeah. Okay, so moving up to number 4, I think we were talking before this, and you mentioned that I didn't have to always go with lead roles, and
we were expanding it a little bit. The original ask was for lead, but I thought there's too many good ones to not to leave out some of the supporting actors.
Yeah, so this one's debatable, but I think John Goodman in The Big Lebowski. For me, he just completely steals. No, he doesn't steal that film because everybody's stealing that film. It's just kind of amazing. But I just love every one of his lines and the delivery. And he's just so deeply committed in that role. It's just fantastic. I just love him in that movie. It's funny because I love him in all of his Coen Brother films, including like Barton Fink. It would be like my second favorite, but The Big Lebowski is the one I think I look most forward to seeing John Goodman in again and again.
Because people could easily pick Jeff Bridges as their, in that role.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had considered it because he's fantastic in it, but I think John Goodman is winning by like a photo finish for me.
Interesting. This is good.
Yeah, I mean, when I sit down, I've seen that movie enough times. Like, really, when I sit down to watch that film again, I think more than anything, I'm just looking forward to seing John Goodman on screen.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Shober fucking Shabbos. Yeah. Okay, number 3, Peter Sellers in Being There.
Yes.
Yeah, so talking about understated roles, he does such a fantastic job of being this guy who's kind of bumbling through the political sphere of Washington, D.C., I don't know what to say about it. It's such an I don't know if it's kind of in people's minds, this film, because I mean, for Peter Sellers, he has such a stellar career like across the board, but for this, he's not playing the out of control, like over the top Clouseau. He's not like the really crazy Doctor Strangelove.
Right.
Here, he's almost playing just like the bass notes of this character, and it just says everything. Like it's a really amazing film, and it's entirely riding on his shoulders, and he's just really, really subdued in it, and it's fantastic.
Shirley MacLaine's in this movie too, right?
Yeah, she is.
Okay. Yeah, it's been years since I've seen it. I need to rewatch this.
Oh, have you seen it? It's
years ago.
You know, I would argue that it is at least as funny as any of his other stuff, and maybe even more so. I think when I watch this, I get much deeper like belly laughs out of this than I do from like Inspector Clouseau, who's just like kind of the clown prince of comedy in that film.
And you know it's in the Pink Panther, you know it's coming. So it doesn't take it away from it, but it's a different type of funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's number 2?
Number 2, Anthony Perkins in Psycho.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I don't. This again, I think it's just there's a lot that the audience needs to buy into. And it's not a small ask to get to put any actor in that position. But I think a lot of the film, I mean, it succeeds in a number of different areas. But one of those that stands out to me in terms of male acting is him convincing us of his vulnerability when he's talking to Marion Crane in the back office, and they're sharing that meal before everything goes horribly. But we see in subtle turns from him during that scene a vulnerability. We see a fear. We're not sure what that fear is. We don't know if it's directed towards the mother or towards Marion Crane. And a little bit of rage peeks out. And it's so fascinating watching that performance. The entire movie, but that scene in particular, just to call that out, because there's so much going on in that banter on both sides, but his performance is just amazing.
Yeah.
And not only does he succeed in making us buy into this character, and it's not just buying into this character. I mean, he's got to like really believe that this character is vulnerable and has like these undercurrents of rage and fear and a great many other things, and sadness. But he also somehow, by the end of the movie, I think our moral compasses are really being challenged, because you don't know whether to despise him, to pity him.
Yeah.
To be terrified of him. Certainly you're terrified by then of showers and of hotels in general. But to get to the end of that movie and to feel pity, I think that's, or even sympathy, maybe, depending on like how you read it, is really interesting. And of course, in the sequels, they try and play off of those feelings of pity and sympathy that you may have felt towards him in the first film, with varying success. But I think he's fantastic in that.
Tremendous actor, but that's like the career defining role for him. And so I think that's that's what would make sense to have this be the pick, because when you think of Norman Bates, you think of Anthony Perkins, and when you think of Anthony Perkins, you think Norman Bates.
Yeah. And I would say too, there's another film, the sequel, Psycho 2. It's I don't know if it's underappreciated. It's a film with some huge faults.
Sure.
But I think maybe his performance in that is not really as well acknowledged as maybe it could be. Because he has a huge challenge there as well, to make us believe that, to believe all of the, everything that he faces coming back. I think it's like 20 years later. It's like the first like reboot or what do you call it? What do you call all of these things that are happening with TV right now? Reboots?
Yeah. I mean, if it's
revivals.
Revival, yes, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the first 2-decade revival or
Exactly.
something like that.
That's true.
His performance in that is fantastic. I think it's actually better than almost the entire film.
And then I think they did 2 more sequels after that. So
yeah, they shouldn't have done.
No.
Okay, number 1,
yes.
Ewan McGregor in Trainspotting.
Yes.
Yeah, another one. I mean, I've been obsessed with that film since like the day that came out as well, and with Ewan McGregor. So part of the reason this is my number 1 is just like I had like my first like male celebrity crush on him from that film.
Ah, okay.
Which sounds messed up, right?
Yeah, he's a mess in the movie.
Because it's not like it's I don't know, but anyway, he's so amazing in that, and it's such a phenomenal film, just in general. That I had it bad for Ewan McGregor when it came out.
So have you enjoyed all of his movies ever since, or is that still your go-to McGregor film?
I like some of his movies since then. I'd have to say that I wouldn't consider him like a favorite actor anymore necessarily. But that performance, I think, is, I don't know, maybe is it too much to say it's kind of iconic?
No, I think that movie definitely is for that sort of picture. So no, I don't think it is.
Yeah. So he's my number 1.
Cool. All right, let's quickly go through the ones that almost made your list.
Okay, so folks who almost made my list, I'll do males because it's a really short list. And do you want me to just like rattle this off like on fire?
Yeah.
Like just quickly. Okay, so Gael Garcia Bernal from Bad Education, another Spanish film by Pedro Almodovar. Okay. Eugene Levy in A Mighty Wind.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, because I think that movie, wow. I don't know. He's amazing in that. So funny, so amazingly funny. And his chemistry with everyone else in that is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood, another kind of down and dirty vengeance film that a lot of fun to watch. So those are my men.
So let's go into your top 5 actors, and
we can do that on our list later. Okay,
yes,
sure. Yeah. Okay, we'll move over to actors now.
Sure.
Okay, so this is where I start to cheat.
Okay, no problem.
So Alec Guinness, and that's not for one role. I have him for like a bunch of roles. Actually.
Fair enough.
Kind Hearts and Coronets, where he plays 9 different characters.
Yes,
it's pretty odd. He's like
true.
Different members of his family, and different. Some of them are from different generations. It's a black comedy where like a younger relative stands to inherit the family fortune if all the other relatives die, but he's way down the line, so he's like basically he plots to bump off all the characters, and they're all played by Alec Guinness.
Right.
He's just pretty hilarious and everything.
He was way before Eddie Murphy started to do all this.
Yeah, before the clumps and
and Coming to America.
I guess Peter Sellers played a few roles in Doctor Strangelove, but not. I think
not to the extent of this.
Not to the 9 different. But I mean, they're all kind of brief roles, most of them.
Sure,
but he was just I don't know. It was just showed Alec Guinness's talent, especially in comedy. He was a great comedic actor, and on that note, Lady Killers is probably another one.
Absolutely,
he's just hilarious and evil. He kind of looks like Nosferatu with his teeth sticking out. He reminds me a little bit of what's the guy with the Minions and
Gru.
Gru, yeah, kind of a little bit like that. He's a little bit. If you haven't seen Lady Killers, kind of imagine that, except maybe a little bit more hair. But
and see that version. If you want to watch the Tom Hanks version, fine. But
I don't think I've even seen that one. Just skipped it. But go to the original. And actually, I think that has Peter Sellers in it. Anyway, it's like this bubbling gang of criminals live with this lady. And they're trying to I think they're trying to do a bank robbery.
Yes.
They have to hide out in plain sight, sort of, and then they're pretending to be a band.
Yeah.
Or a group of musicians, and so they lie to their landlady. But then I think they have to kill the landlady, otherwise she's going to spoil their heist. So
really good movie.
It's a great movie. Then I also have him for Bridge on the River Kwai, where he's like he's maddening in his. He's very straight-laced and principled, and like at the end, it's just like you want to kind of strangle him.
Absolutely, like he never lets up.
No, he's relentless. And in Star Wars, I have Obi-Wan Kenobi because he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. But what's interesting, a lot of people just know him for that. And I'm glad you mentioned the other movies.
The other ones are. Yeah, I could have named Star Wars because that's where I first knew of Alec Guinness. But I think like probably Lady Killers and Kind Hearts and Cornets are. I don't know, my two favorites of his overall, or in Bridge of the River Kwai, he won an Oscar for, and he was brilliant in that. He's actually really good in Lawrence of Arabia too, a smaller role.
Exactly, he's like one of those iconic actors.
Yeah, just great all around. Next, I have Ian McKellen, who played Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings movies. Gandalf is my favorite character from those movies, and Ian McKellen pretty much embodied what I expected or thought that character could be from reading the books.
Right.
So I don't know. He just like nailed it, basically. I won't go into it too much.
But this is good.
He's definitely one of my favorite actors in general too. Like a lot of things he's been in have just been brilliant in.
Yeah.
I think there was one where he played it. Ex-Nazi apt pupil. It was like
that's a good movie.
He's really good. He's really good in the Richard III, where it's like a modernized version of the Shakespearean play. He's awesome in that.
Was Kevin Bacon in Apt Pupil, or was it Brad Renfro?
I think it's Renfro. I don't know if Kevin Bacon's in that or not.
Good movie though.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. It's a good suspense movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ian McKellen. Okay. Paul Newman is next.
That's gonna be a tough one for you.
He's actually my top one.
Okay,
but I'll put him. Yeah. So. We'll come back to him.
Okay.
So I'll Jeff Bridges as the dude in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one of the all-time comedic roles. He completely embodies that character.
He embodies.
He embodies. Yeah. I don't know. That's probably all I need to say. If you see the movie, I don't know. And if you don't like it, then it's probably not, your kind of movie.
Sure.
I think. But if you do like it, then you'll understand that he's like, he is the dude. Like that dude.
He's
that character is him, and vice versa. And it's hard. You can't believe it's. You don't really think about it as being Jeff Bridges. Like there's just
exactly
on the screen. It's the dude.
And he's been in so many different movies. He's iconic for this one.
Yeah, he was good in was a Crazy Heart. And a bunch of other,
And even before that, like he was in Starman, and
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And it's also I figured Malin would cheat on that one and pick not only him but also John Goodman because
I thought John Goodman's great too.
Yeah, but you want a role that nobody else could play. I
can't imagine. That's the thing. You can't imagine anyone else playing. No. I'm sure they'll remake it or they'll make it a Broadway musical or something at some point. And some schmo is going to be cast there, or maybe someone talented, but it won't be the dude because that is Jeff Bridges.
That's right.
All right. Next, I have Paul Newman. I'll go with Paul Newman because then there's like a cheat after that. So Paul Newman and Cool Hand Luke.
I was wondering which one you'd pick. And so,
I think that's probably my favorite, although he's awesome in The Hustler. I mean, I mentioned Cat on the Hut Tin Roof. He's really good in that, although I think I don't know.
Everything.
The Verdict is amazing. I don't know. I can't pick one for Paul Newman, but Cool Hand Luke is probably my... I think
your favorite.
If I were to vote an Oscar for one of his performances, I think I would give that one. But he's got plenty of great ones.
Yeah. So mine was The Sting.
Okay, so that's actually my next movie, but this is my cheat where I named Paul Newman, Robert Redford, and Robert Shaw.
Got it.
Like the trio in The Sting. Yeah. I think they all play well off each other.
Yeah.
It's a complicated plot, and I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it. I mean, we talked about it a lot by now, so people, you should get the hint.
Absolutely.
Watch that movie already. It's a great heist movie. Redford and Newman are great together, and they were already coming off of Bush and Sundance.
Exactly.
So they have great on-screen chemistry.
Yeah.
Robert Shaw is an amazing actor. I mean, he's awesome in Jaws, too.
I flipped a coin because, how do you pick Lonigan or how do you pick, I forgot his name in Jaws.
Quinn?
Quinn. Yeah. In Jaws. But
I don't know. I don't know which one's better. Cause he's totally different.
Totally.
Yeah. So it kind of shows Robert Shaw's range in acting.
Exactly.
So I think it's just a great demonstration of the three actors
as one.
They
kind of needed all of them to make it work.
I mean, the plot is really about their interactions with each other because you have the relationship of Newman and Redford, and then Redford working with Lonigan or Robert Shaw as Lonigan, and then Lonigan and Robert Shaw and Paul Newman as kind of the obvious adversaries. So it was really cool. And
really well done.
I think my favorite scene actually in that movie is the poker scene where Paul Newman's just like
he's acting drunk.
He's acting drunk and completely clumsy. It's completely aggravating, and he actually out cheats Lonigan in
he does
Shaw in the game. It's really funny.
But like him laughing, I agree. Tremendous scene.
Yeah,
really
awesome.
well. Yeah.
And then my honorable mention for actors is Heath Ledger as the Joker in Dark Knight. He's like the definitive villain, I think, in any superhero movie.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, it's just sad that if that role ended up causing his eventual suicide.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. It was after working on that he committed suicide.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. It's hard to imagine anyone topping that as a Joker, and I haven't seen what's his name?
Oh, Jared Leto.
Jared Leto yet. I've heard
it's almost
mixed to / bad things about it, and like he just tried too hard, and it's like after that, I don't know. And Jack Nicholson was great as Joker.
He was, but it was almost. I think the only difference is you still knew it was Jack.
That's the thing. It was Jack Nicholson's the Joker rather than the Joker.
Right, whereas Heath Ledger, I forgot he was Heath Ledger.
Yeah, completely buried himself in that role, which maybe was to his detriment, I don't know. But he is definitely the definitive,
I agree. And
probably comic book movie role, period.
Agreed. Yeah.
I can't imagine, I don't think there's been a superhero, Christopher Reeve was great as Superman, and I love Gene Hackman as
Lex Luthor,
but it still was kind of jokey and comedic, kind of tongue-in-cheek, and this was played completely seriously and completely like method acting, the whole 9 yards.
That's right.
And you know what, I was, as I was making this, so there's probably a whole bunch of other actors I left off.
No, but we have to limit it.
That's it. Yeah. That's my list.
That's awesome, as usual.
All right.
Great job. Thank you so much, Brian. So let's go to, we'll come back to your honorable mentions, but let's do the top 5 actors for now.
Okay. So I'm going down to, so I was torn in this one, but okay. My number 5.
Yep.
Jack Lemmon.
Okay. Oh boy. I gotta say The Apartment.
Yes, although I have The Apartment / Some Like It Hot. He's
true.
It's almost like the same type of character, right?
He is.
It's kind of like a hysterical...
Yeah, he's almost like that in every movie.
You're right, it is. Actually, you're right. Yeah, so... Yeah, I just love, I loved him in Some Like It Hot. I think he's he's better than Tony Curtis and Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
He just kind of pulls the movie together. I like Tony Curtis in that too.
He's the comic relief.
Right.
In that,
yeah, they're kind of romantic leads.
Yeah.
They're both goofy and doing comedic things too, but I just think he's the one that kind of brings it all together.
Yeah, I agree. Whereas The Apartment, everyone kind of has their own place. Like Fred McMurray's the boss.
Right. It's the same thing where he's trying to, what is he, hiding his mistress in his apartment?
Yes.
Right? It's Fred McMurray's mistress.
Yeah.
But he's also trying to hit on her or something, or he's trying to romance her
he's in love with her.
He's in love with her,
and she's just the mess. And,
right.
And then Fred McMurray's your typical, almost like Mad Men.
Yeah,
guy.
It is at that time. It's the exact setup.
I think Malin picked Shirley MacLaine as one of his actresses in The Apartment.
In The Apartment.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
she's great.
She is really good in that. You're right. Oh, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Damn you,
honorable mention.
I had it all the time. I meant that. I'm kicking out Jodie Foster and putting her... No,
you can't.
No. Okay.
That's a great one. So number 4.
Bill Murray.
Oh, boy. And again, only because I know you, it's got to be Royal Tenenbaums?
No.
Oh, no. Okay. Bill Murray. Rushmore?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Love him in Rushmore. Have you seen Rushmore?
Of course.
Oh,
I saw it in the theater.
I just think he is, when he's in the elevator scene where he's has a cigarette dangling out of his thing, and then he's hiding empty liquor bottles in the hospital clothing. He's just so great there.
He's one he's transitioned over time. He's always the same.
I think, Lost in Translation was his first
serious
role, and then Rushmore I think came out shortly after that. Which one came out first?
I want to say Rushmore came out first, but I could be wrong.
Maybe Rushmore did come out first.
Because that's
I know I could quickly do a search and see, but do you want me to?
No.
Anyway.
The users can do it.
The scene in the pool where he's throwing, his wife is hooking up with the pool boy, and he's just throwing ping pong ball, and it's his twins' birthday party. Oh man, that's a great role. Yeah.
Good one. Yeah, there's so many Bill Murray ones that you didn't pick the obvious one. So a lot of people would pick
the obvious one?
Ghostbusters or Stripes or
that's not the Bill Murray.
Stripes.
I like Bill Murray then.
Groundhog Day.
You should watch. You should just watch. I wish I could get it for you. Oh, you can find it online on YouTube. You should watch his performance in Square Pigs, the TV show from the 80s. He's the substitute teacher. If you just search Bill Murray Square Pigs, just like
they'll have something.
A 20-minute to watch Bill Murray, and that it's just like very funny. Yeah, he's great.
Because that would be right after Stripes, I think. It's like 82, 83.
Is it 82, 83? Yeah. It's right around his like Saturday Night. I thought it was when he was on Saturday Night Live, but maybe not. Maybe it's right when he transitioned into movies.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he did Meatballs and he was gone from Saturday Night Live, but I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah. You're probably right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Meatballs.
That was his first. Yeah. I liked him in Meatballs too. Yeah.
Okay.
So number
this is my only drama.
Number
Straight
3?
up drama is number 3.
Okay.
Gregory Peck.
Oh, it's got to be To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird. Yeah. Although I want to say, like, I just love the character, maybe, and I think he's, when you read the book, and everybody falls in love with Atticus Finch, and then I just think he is the perfect personification of Atticus Finch.
Yes,
in real form. It's just like, who else could be? I don't know, because he's like the perfect father, the perfect person, the lawyer, everything.
I think people forget about how great an actor he was.
I'm sure he was, and I don't even know if that performance was. I don't know.
But he's known for that.
I love watching him. I love,
But he's great in, is it, it starts with an S, with Ingrid Bergman, the Hitchcock movie.
Splendid? No.
Spellbound.
Yeah, sorry.
He's great in that. I mean, there's so many. He's good in the original Cape Fear. He's,
Oh, yeah, I love that
He's
movie.
the Nick Nolte character.
Right. So good.
He's in a lot of great movies. Yeah.
Okay, my number 2, Cary Grant.
Oh, this is tough.
I love Cary Grant in anything, so I can watch him in anything.
I think North by Northwest, I think.
Nope.
No? Wow.
I know, but I don't love him in North by Northwest. He's too orange.
To Catch a Thief?
Nope. It's a comedy.
Bringing Up Baby?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Bringing Up Baby, he's good in that too.
I don't know.
Arsenic and Old Lady.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. He is really great in that.
I love him in that. I also love the old ladies. I'm almost like, if I knew their names, I would put them in my
the biddies.
Yeah. They're so funny. I love that movie.
He is.
Play. I guess it's a play, but
he is your most well-rounded actor because he could do serious. He could also do funny.
Maybe. I feel like he's always Cary Grant, but he's funny and I don't know.
He would have been the perfect James Bond if he wasn't older.
Right. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
Because he could play suave and he could be. I guess he could be a badass if he wanted to.
And I feel like he's always funny. I don't know what movie is he like straight up, no irony, dramatic. I know he's in Affair to Remember, which I haven't even seen.
That's true. That's like romance, and there was no comedy in it.
Yeah,
he was in some in like the 40s,
I
think in the 30s, where he was more serious.
Okay. But even in all the Hitchcock movies, he's pretty goofy. Like he always has like a dry sense of humor. Right?
Yeah,
like he's sarcastic.
Like even in Charade, he can do it.
Yeah,
that's true. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Number 1.
My number 1 is really weird. I remember the first, and I think because I chose when you gave me this list, I came up with, I knew Shelley Winters and Lolita, and then I knew that I loved this performance of this person in this movie. Mm-hmm. And it's a very weird choice, and I'll just admit that.
Okay.
Ben Stiller. I know.
Okay.
Ben Stiller in
Reality Bites.
No.
Okay. I thought you liked that movie.
I watched it a bunch of times, but I don't
Ben Stiller.
like the performances, I guess.
Oh, geez. I don't know. I don't know.
It's one of my favorite movies. Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
So I want to put that I loved Ben Stiller and Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
In that movie, I love the portrayal of their relationship, and I just loved the, his rage. His just like rage about everything.
Yeah.
Like, he's just angry about everything, and it's just I think that's like Ben Stiller at his best. I don't love Ben Stiller movies at all. I like Ben Stiller, but
so you like him when he's more serious as opposed to the.
I mean, he's straight up being a straight man in that movie. He's just so funny in it, right? Yeah, he's not making any jokes.
Yeah.
But he's just, I just love, I don't know, I just think it's so funny. There's a scene where he's walking by, he's like leaving in anger by Gene Hackman, and Gene Hackman's like, oh, wait, son, wait, and he's like, slaps his hand, just like walks by, just like, slaps his hand with the way, and it's just perfect.
Gene Hackman was tough for me, because I love him in everything. Yeah. Gene Hackman's brilliant, but it's tough to pick one for him, and so
I loved the cast. I love the cast of Angelica Houston and Gene Hackman and Ben Stiller in that, but I loved him and Gene Hackman particularly.
Is it Luke Wilson's in?
Yeah, Luke Wilson's in it. He's fine. He's good. He's okay. Yeah, he's fine.
Smash in the face, Luke Wilson.
What?
Smash in the face, Luke.
Is he the one that has the crooked?
Yes.
No, Owen Wilson also has the crooked nose.
Not like Luke.
No, I think you're mixing them up. Owen Wilson has the big old crooked nose.
Like maybe. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Owen's the blonde.
Yes.
Yes.
They're both in the movie.
Joel Cohen's married to Frances McDormand.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's Ethan.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
And then do you have any honorable mention?
Men.
Mm-hmm.
I do have Al Pacino.
In Serpico?
No, not Serpico, but I love his performance in Serpico. And I'm actually...
Dog Day Afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm also like, I feel like that's a hint to the Al Pacino of the 80s, right? It's super over-the-top performance. Like, he's really emotional and crazy, but...
He didn't write... You know...
That was like the first time that he pulled that, so I thought it worked. And the story is so crazy, and
it's
he
true.
Looks exactly like the guy who actually did that heist, or whatever you want to call it, that bank robbery.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just such a crazy story, so, yeah.
Did you ever see Injustice for All? That came out in 1979.
And Justice for All with Al Pacino?
Yeah, no. He's a lawyer. That's his speech at the end is kind of a precursor to how the very yelling.
Yes,
what Gene Wilder does. Gene Wilder yells a lot.
Exactly.
That's where it started.
That's why I couldn't even watch The French Connection. I had it on for a bit on a plane. I was like, I can't take this. It's like too much like.
You mean
French Connection with Gene Hackman?
Gene Wilder is the yeller.
Oh, sorry, Gene Wilder's the yeller.
Like in Willy Wonka.
Oh yeah. Well, he does a low. He starts
builds,
out low, and then he's like,
exactly.
Explodes, right? That's Gene Wilder.
Yeah, even in all the Richard Pryor movies, he does the same thing. Like
someone just said, Sam. They were talking about it was on Mark Maron podcast, and they were talking about Sam Kinison, and someone was like, he was completely copying Gene Wilder's.
He kind of did.
Yeah,
he did.
That's what he was saying. It's like all Sam did was copy Gene Wilder. It was like this very low and like explosion. Yeah, I don't know if it was Mark Maron saying that or somebody else said it.
It makes sense because it just. I don't know if Gene Wilder did as much coke as Sam did, but that's...
I know, right? I don't know. I don't know if Gene Wilder did drugs. Did he? Or was he...
I don't know. It's a good question.
I love Gene Wilder.
Richard Pryor definitely did.
No, I know.
He burned himself up.
Known, yeah.
So.
And he got Parkinson's?
He did, yeah.
Was that from the drug? You can't get Parkinson's from the drugs, or can you?
I don't think it helps, but no. It couldn't have helped him. He had quite a life. That would be a hell of a... I would love to see a biopic on Richard
They've
Pryor.
been talking about it forever, and I forget who they said was starring in it. They've been talking about doing it because he has an autobiography.
Yeah.
Which I've never read, but they talk about it on Mark Maron
a lot.
It'd be
great.
Comedians are like, every comedian has to read this book, so I should pick it up and read it.
Yeah, because one of the top stand-ups. Plus, he was in a lot of very popular movies.
Yeah. He was really,
and a great
really
writer.
big.
Yeah, but he had a crazy life.
Right. Well, he grew up in a whorehouse, right?
And his dad basically abused him. I mean, he jokes about it in his stand-up routines, but talking about, go get the switch off the tree to get hit.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross.
But
horrible.
It's funny how, abuse from a lot of comedians was kind of integrated into, because even Cosby would talk about how his dad basically hit him and everything. Well, that's a whole different subject with Bill Cosby, but yes. Yeah.
Bill Cosby. Don't get me started. No,
I know. Well, no, you can listen to past episodes if you want to hear about that. So, anyway, great job, Lynn.
I have 2 more.
Oh, good. Go, keep going. Keep going.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Oh, and it could be 2 of them. Was he in Talented Mr. Ripley? Yeah. Okay. Is it that one?
He's the Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah,
Matt Damon.
Mm-hmm.
In Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah.
And then Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, Capote?
No.
Okay. But he was really good in Capote.
He was good in Capote.
Oh, jeez. I don't know.
Doubt.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Oh, yeah, that's good. He plays a priest who's accused of...
Oh, maybe I have.
...molesting. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
I think it's a play that then became a movie.
Did you ever see Before the Devil Knows You're Dead?
No.
With
maybe.
Marissa Tomei is in it.
No.
I think it's kind of like a
I love
gangster
Marissa Tomei. I should have put her in.
You might like that because he's in that too.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a dark one.
Yeah.
So, all right, great list.
Drug user.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So good job. You didn't think I didn't think you would have enough, and you had plenty.
I had too many.
No, you didn't have
I had to cut down.
Well, as always, thank you so much, super producer.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, so you have a top 4 for actors. How are we going to do this one?
So, for my actors, this is hard. I think, just for me, memorable roles, I always side with the females.
Okay, that's fair.
Movies.
Yeah.
So, I see a movie, I'm like, great. Female inspiration.
Yeah.
But... I don't know. never been one to watch like a lot of guy films.
Okay.
So
except for Will Ferrell.
Except for Will Ferrell. But I do in a way. It's kind of, I've chosen things that are more. I have a classic.
Okay.
I have a foreign.
Mm-hmm.
I have one kind of like grungy cult classic,
mm-hmm.
and then I have a new movie that just came out.
Oh, okay.
So
let's go in exactly that order.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the classic,
Mhm.
I went with, I had to pick Cary Grant.
Yeah.
He's my favorite actor, and I chose Philadelphia Story.
Nice.
For his.
Okay.
I was on the fence between the two, but I think when I think of him, I either think of Hitchcock
Mm-hmm.
or his like 40s movies.
Yes.
So I went with Philadelphia Story, and
Wait.
it has Katharine Hepburn.
It's,
so
yeah.
she.
How do you? Yeah, that must have been tough
It
not to
was
pick
hard.
her.
I
Yeah.
wanted to choose her, but I thought like her like work was too strong. I
Yeah.
couldn't really label one.
I would pick Bringing Up Baby because
Yeah.
she's just so crazy in that one.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's kind of unlike most of her characters afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah. I think she's so young in that one.
She was, but she really steals the show because Cary
Mhm.
Grant's kind of just like this, I don't know what's going on type of,
Mhm.
the whole movie, and she
Mhm.
kind of carries the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for Philadelphia Story, this is,
Yeah, and I like in the movie, like I think you're supposed to like Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge fan of
Oh,
Jimmy
really?
Stewart. I don't
Oh.
know why.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just like his mumbly way of talking.
Oh.
I don't know. Does that mean?
No, that's it. Everyone's gonna...
But yeah, I always like sided with Cary Grant in the movie.
Okay.
And
He's so charming.
Yeah, I like the trio of the kind of the comedic, all that.
Mhm.
So,
That's tough to pick one Cary Grant movie.
yeah, it was tough. I also oddly like Arsenic and Old Lace.
That's what Lindley picked as her favorite. Yeah.
And then I was reading about it, and I guess he like said in an interview that he thought that was his worst performance
Really?
ever.
Interesting.
But I always thought it was such a funny, weird movie.
It is.
But I don't know. I think Philadelphia Story for me like kind of really defines kind of like him as his character type in a way.
So I'm going to go off. Actually, we'll make this your fifth. What is your favorite role for him in a Hitchcock movie?
In a Hitchcock, I like Notorious.
Yeah.
Maybe more so the movie.
Than
As a
actually
whole.
than him in it.
Yeah. I like To Catch a Thief.
Yeah.
That one's just like fun.
Yeah.
So.
When we can't pick North by Northwest because he looks too orangey, according
Yes.
to her.
I also feel bad for him because I think with the way the color movies were done, he always looked a lot older.
Yeah, he did.
Like in the 60s.
He did.
The 50s and 60s, and he always acted with such young actresses.
Yeah.
So I always felt like it was like they were forcing him to do these movies.
Yeah.
And he's like a great actor.
Yeah.
And his charm and everything.
And he's actually in good shape. It's
Yes.
just, but it's
It's odd.
Yeah,
Like,
it really
he looks
is.
much older, I think, than maybe he would have nowadays.
Yeah.
It's probably just the lifestyle back then and the coloring
Totally.
of how they did the color. But yeah, in like Charade
yeah,
as well.
exactly.
He looks like he could be her like Audrey Hepburn's grandpa.
Exactly.
Like, oh.
Yeah. More Cary Grant.
Poor guy. So
Yeah.
I like to remember him in his
His
the
heyday in the
classic
40s, yeah.
heyday.
Mhm.
And I like kind of the quick talking kind of side of things there.
Well, what was
So-
the one he was in with Rosalind Russell? That where they're newspaper reporters. And that's like the most fast-paced movie ever.
Oh no!
It's not Taco the Town, but it's something like that. Came out like the late or early 40s, late 30s.
Let's see. His Girl Friday.
Yes. Yeah, 1940.
Okay.
Yeah. That one's a great one.
Mhm.
Yeah. And they're both really good in that one. Okay, so let's go to what would be the next one?
Okay, so next one. This is going to be a long interview. I bet you these are long for everybody.
It is. Everyone went about a half an hour, so
Okay.
that's good. So this could be about a 2-hour interview.
Okay, so next one. I've talked about this movie before, and I don't know why it resonated with me and why I like it so much, but I went with Ewan McGregor in Trainspotting.
Ah, yes. Actually, so I think Malin picked something from Trainspotting, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So, yes.
And he's another one. He's, still so busy and doing so many things, but I think I will always associate him with this role, and I think this movie couldn't have been done without his
him.
portrayal of it. Just so it's again, another depressing one, but also like oddly funny and dark, and he's just like the energy is really cool.
Yeah. Did you like the sequel, or did you see?
I never saw it.
Never saw it. Okay.
I may eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else? He was like so young. I think when that came out, was it one of his first big roles?
Yeah.
It came out in '96.
Because then after that, he started doing. He was in the Star Wars.
He did
stuff.
Star Wars, Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
And I would love to see him do more movies
like
this, kind of the dark, gritty.
Yeah, he's made his money with Star Wars. He should do.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't even know what he's done.
Yeah, because he was so big for a while there. Like he was in everything.
Oh, he did this TV show Fargo recently.
Oh, okay.
I started watching it, but I got distracted.
Yeah.
And I think because the movie's Scottish and he's Scottish, and it all just worked so well.
Yeah.
And how it all looked, and if I would have done your soundtrack interview, I might have chosen the Trainspotting soundtrack.
Well, you can still do this. You can still pick your one. You just have time to pick one.
It's so hard. But yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
Ewan McGregor and Trainspotting, just a cool movie.
Yeah.
It's gross, but
it is.
It's like everything I hate. It's like yucky, dirty stuff. But
hey, if you don't want your kid to do heroin, this is the movie to show them.
Yeah, unless they're like, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, that's true. You can't win either way.
Except for the baby death.
That's right.
So, I don't know.
Moving right along.
All right, so next one, we're going to go with something random here.
Okay.
And I gave myself a challenge. I wanted to pick a foreign film, and I was actually talking to my friend about this actor recently.
Okay.
He's an actor and director, screenwriter. His name's Xavier Dolan.
Okay.
And he's a French Canadian.
Okay.
And he made this movie when he was 20 years old called I Killed My Mother.
Okay. When did this come out?
It came out in 2009.
Okay.
So he's in his 20s still.
Okay.
Super young, and he wrote, directed this whole movie, starred in it.
He did another movie called Mommy, so I think he's got mom issues.
That one's good. Oh, he has severe mom issues. Mommy is very good. And I didn't choose that because he didn't star in it.
Okay.
I think what makes I Killed My Mother so special is he starred in it as well. So the whole movie is kind of like his vision.
Okay.
Sounds pretentious.
So he's a new type of Orson Welles.
Yeah. And it just kind of blew me away when I saw it. It was his just kind of emotional, it was so exaggerated emotionally, but it really resonated with me. It's how.
And how did you hear about this?
Probably reading about movies and stuff.
Okay.
It won at Cannes, and so he was hugely hyped when this came out. Because he went to Cannes and he won for this movie that he was an unknown, 20 years old.
Yeah.
Developed this whole movie from nothing, and he has done a few other kind of artsy movies lately, and he's gotten bigger. He's worked with more bigger names. I think he did a movie recently with Marion Cotillard.
Oh, nice.
And but he works in French language, primarily. But yeah, this movie's awesome. It's semi biographical, and he's in high school still, and he just cannot get along with his mom.
Okay.
It's sad. It's very heartbreaking because she really tries, but they just don't get along. He's dealing with a lot of things in his life, and he's I don't know if he comes out to her. I don't remember when that happens, but there's this whole issue with him being gay. And,
okay, so he's got his own things going on.
So he's a 16-year-old with all of these issues, and then it's just him and his mom, and his dad's not in the picture, and. It's just a great little film about just this high school kid, but I think the way he plays it, and it's another thing for me, of course, is the cinematography and the look of all things. So it's a beautifully made film.
Okay.
Like there's these really pretty sequences, and you can tell one of his like objectives of making the movies is to make them look nice.
Right.
It's kind of like they kind of look like they could be like music videos at some point. They're kind of like art films. But it's really kind of just a basic story about a kid and with a overly dramatic title.
Yeah.
So he's like really overly dramatic. And yeah, I recommend it. I think anyone should check out his movies. They're good. They're really good.
This is why Samantha's great. She's going to give you the movies you probably haven't seen yet. So
haven't seen. If I think, it's Je tue ma mère in French. And that's like the first one he did. And I think I'll always like associate him with that movie. Okay. Because now he doesn't really act and as much anymore. He mostly directs. So I think this movie will always be his like acting role.
Cool.
So then I have one more.
Yes.
I couldn't really come up with any other like classic performances. I was like thinking about like Marlon Brando and I don't know, Fred Astaire. But
sure.
I don't know. I couldn't decide on anything. So the movie that I saw recently that I think is going to be a favorite for a long time was Phantom Thread.
Oh, okay.
With Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, okay, yeah, which is supposedly his last performance ever.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I've never been in like the Daniel Day-Lewis like fandom.
Okay.
Like, he's like really popular for his like method.
Yes. It's like There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, and
My Left Foot.
He has like a huge like cult following.
Yes.
Like I read a lot of movie blogs and like arts and entertainment blogs, and it's all about Daniel Day-Lewis. What's he doing now? And I always thought like, is he overrated or not? Like There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
Is a great movie.
Did you like My Left Foot?
I've never seen it.
Okay, because he won his upset performance. I
haven't seen all of his movies. I never like really got it.
I think the first Daniel Day-Lewis movie I saw was Last of the Mohicans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was great in that, too.
And, I saw Gangs of New York. I watched it on an airplane. Yeah. Like, I never...
It's a long movie, too.
Yeah. So, I just never got it. And then I went to see this movie because of... Pretty much just because of what it's about. He played a fashion designer. And it's based in the 50s. I'm like, two things that'll get Samantha to the movies. So I paid for a ticket and I went to the movies to see this. And it absolutely blew me away.
Yeah. And he was nominated, right?
He was nominated. Yeah. I think he should have won.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, could someone else have played the role? Maybe. But his mannerisms and very subtle quirkiness was, I thought, very unique to it. You could tell he kind of like studied to have these certain like quirky personality, like facets to his personality, and I thought it was a hilarious movie, even though I don't think it wasn't a comedy.
Right.
But yeah, he's this fashion designer who he is like so focused on his job, like he can't function in life. And the funniest thing to me was he has like rules about how he eats breakfast. Like everything in his life has rules. And so he's sitting at breakfast with his new girlfriend and he almost like throws a tantrum because she's making noise when she's eating.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like a whole thing with it's, quiet in the background and she's like chomping on some toast or something or like stirring her tea and you can tell he's just like fuming inside, and I thought it was hysterical.
So is he OCD or is it just...
No.
He just has his quirks.
He's just quirky, and I think some people could maybe interpret it as being like, oh, he's just a rude kind of man, bossy man. But for some reason, maybe because it's Daniel Day-Lewis and he has this kind of flair to him, I thought, he's like, no, this is just like a weird guy.
Yeah.
He's a talented artist and he just enjoys his life how he likes it. And
I think we're all like that in some ways. Like, I like how I like it.
Yeah. So the movie, I won't give it away. You should definitely watch it.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people didn't watch it because they thought it was just a costume drama.
Oh, okay.
They thought, it's just about this man who designs clothes and then he falls in love with a woman and, like, it doesn't work out.
Right.
That's kind of what it seemed like, but it was definitely not like that at all.
Okay, good.
The whole second half of the movie turns into this, like, creepy thriller. And she starts doing things and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And the ending was totally unexpected. So yeah, Phantom Thread, Daniel Day-Lewis, my favorite of his.
That's awesome. And could be his last film ever.
Could be his last one. Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever see his other movies. But I thought this was like a really, in terms of like things that have come out recently,
right.
I thought this was like an iconic one that I'll remember.
Yeah.
Like a pairing.
And that's a good one, because most people have gone back in the past and nobody did something really new. So that's awesome. Great job.
Phew.
I got a lot out of you.
That was a long conversation.
Yes. Thank you, Samantha.
And now I am inspired again with movies.
See?
So.
If you enjoy this podcast and are an iTunes user, please do the show a favor and head on over to the official iTunes page for Damn Good Movie Memories. Be sure to leave a rating and a review. This will allow the show to appear higher in the algorithm and spread the joy of this podcast to the masses. If you are not an iTunes user, you can still listen and subscribe on Podbean at damngoodmoviememories.podbean.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook under our Damn Good Movie Memories page. You can also listen to a limited number of episodes on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and be sure to tune in next week for an all-new episode of Damn Good Movie Memories.
I am Dr. Fuck.
And I'm the Absolute Alcoholic.
And we are part of the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
We are the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
That's right. And the way you can check us out is we are on iTunes and also Podbean. And we got a review recently. I got this review right here. It says right here, Rock and Metal Combat Podcast is the greatest podcast in the world. And it's my number one podcast, signed by Science. Now, and then Science also said... Science also said... My second favorite podcast is It Doesn't Matter, the Rest Suck. Rock and Metal Combat Podcast on iTunes and Podbean. Check it out.
Science! Are you ready for the hottest new podcast out there? Check out the Vieira Vault, featuring none other than Dr. Fuck Ralph Vieira. You will hear personal stories and personal songs from the vault. There ain't nothing else like it. The one, the only, the original Vieira Vault on Podbean, Stitcher.com, and iTunes.
Spreaker.
God damn it.